Sure, that AFC West division has been cranked up a bit as we've chronicled throughout. The Chargers have a great young quarterback. The Raiders have some offensive weaponry. You know, we'll see. We'll see where this thing goes. But the Chiefs obviously in the driver's seat. And Tiki, we're joined by a former Chief, former defensive tackle. He's also got a podcast, the One-on-One podcast with the Kansas City Sports Network. That will be Mike Devito, who we've had on the show before. Mike, Tiki and Tierney, how you doing, bud?
Hey, guys, thank you so much for having me on. How are we doing today?
We're doing awesome. It's one of our favorite teams to watch, one of our favorite teams to talk about. Let's start with this. There were some prominent additions. There were some prominent subtractions. Have the additions outweighed the subtractions, in your opinion, to start?
I really think so, guys. I mean, I think you guys hit it in the montage to start, how the offensive line was really what kept this team from winning it again last year. And Tiki, I'm sure you can relate to this. I've been on teams where, you know, you go into the season and you're looking at the roster and you're thinking, you know, preseason, you're thinking, boy, I hope the organization fills some of these holes.
Yeah, man.
And, you know, there might be one team that I was on where we had a bunch of holes and you know, the best we could do was sign Tim Tebow.
Oh, hey, listen, the Jets. I'm a Jets fan, Mike. I know.
Yeah, you know. Brad.
I do.
So it's like, man, we needed more than that, guys. So, But yeah, with KC, you know, they're just like a well-oiled machine. And Andy Reid and Veach, it's like they recognize what the problem was and they got it fixed. They got it fixed to the point where you have starters now, like Kyle Long and Tardif, who's coming back, who might not be able to make the squad because you have so many good players. I mean, Kyle Long will be there, but you got so many good young players, so many good offensive linemen there. That are still working out the kinks, but it seems like that position has really been addressed. And now you basically got the rest of the guys back. So I like the addition. I think Kansas City did a great job fixing what was their weakness last year.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And you talk about the guys coming back, Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce, all the skill position guys are there, and Clyde Edwards-Helaire is going to be great. But one of the things that we talked about a lot, I think, after the Super Bowl was how pressing Pat Mahomes felt like he was. Like he was trying to do it all. He was trying to just will things to happen in the Super Bowl. And almost immediately, and I think this is a testament to him, he recognized that flaw. And, you know, it's one thing that he now has to add to his levels of experience, that when things go wrong early, I can't panic, right? You know, how much better is he going to become really from the failure? It's something we hadn't seen from him in a long time.
Yeah, I mean, isn't it really amazing to see his growth and how much he's done already just as a young quarterback in this league? I mean, his resume is already amazing, and then you watch and he continues to get better. And you're right, you hit the nail on the head. I mean, that is what, especially a young player at that position, at the quarterback position, is obviously going to struggle with. Is, you know, how much do you put on your shoulders? How much do you try to do to keep the team going and win a game? And playing smart is incredibly important, and he continues to learn and grow. I mean, it's like, you know, this is something you see, you know, with the best. You see Tom Brady every year. It's like, just going back to 2010, I remember playing Tom Brady twice a year, and we were saying, this guy's old. If you hit him, he's going to start, you know, feeling like he's going to start running around and getting scared and getting scattered. And, like, every year he just gets better and better and better, and, like, we couldn't have been more wrong in 2010. And so the greats do that, and you see that with Pat Mahomes. You know, as good as he is, and you know, and has all the sort of things on his resume to say, hey, I can just sort of kick it back and just be who I am. He continues to work to get better, and those are the type of guys. When you have a guy that has all that talent, all that ability, but yet the humility to keep working and keep grinding, keep fixing the things that he can improve on. I mean, you got Hall of Fame status.
There's no question. We're talking to Mike Devito, former Chiefs player, defensive lineman, also with the Jets. And sorry, we didn't bring you a little more than Tebow. Trust me, I was hoping for a little more myself back in the day, Mike. And he's got a podcast, one-on-one podcast with the Kansas City Sports Network. So you talk about the offensive line. Protection will not be an issue. Mahomes is one of the best talents we've ever seen. Myriad weapons and speed everywhere. You know, so great coaching. Where's the weakness? Like, what's the one thing when you put on the film that you look at and you say, boy, objectively speaking, this is a little deficient? What jumps out to you, Mike?
It's hard to tell right now. I mean, you might have some worries, but I mean, it's really hard to tell right now. I think even as good as the offensive line is, the one thing you noticed a little bit in the last game, and this just comes with, you know, new guys, rookie guys, a new offensive line unit coming together. There was some communication stuff. There were some games that didn't get passed up correctly. And obviously that put some pressure on Mahomes. And so as good as those guys have been up front, I guess the one thing you're not worried about, but you want to make sure they're continuing to mature as a unit. Because, you guys both know, you can have an offensive line full of Pro Bowlers, but if they haven't played together, it takes time to gel as a unit and to get on the same page. And when communication isn't good and there are games going and guys are stunting all over the place and people are getting through, that's a bad deal. So I guess, you think about the secondary maybe and some of the, linebacker positions. But I don't know. I still don't put a ton on preseason tape. So maybe you could put a question mark there to say, how are some of these new guys in the secondary going to work? But, just from what I've seen so far, I think my biggest worry, and I put that in quotations because it's not really a worry, but it's just, hey, the maturity of the offensive line to gel, not just individually as players, but as a unit to get that communication down so that everything's getting picked up in the pass game.
Yeah, this is Coach Spagnuolo's third season now with this defense. And while it's never been, the full strength of this team, we obviously gravitate towards what Pat Mahomes and this offense is doing. They have started to get a little bit better. I mean, they were top 10 in points last year, and I think middle of the road otherwise. Where is the growth or the reason for optimism from your perspective on the defensive side of the ball? We know that the secondary might have some issues there, but I mean, Spags likes to get after the quarterback. That's how he made his hay when he was with the Giants, and it's what he's really done for the entirety of his career. And you see that with Chris Jones and Frank Clark in particular. Where's the optimism on that side of the ball?
Well, those are the guys right there, right? The Chris Jones and the Frank Clarks listen. When I was there, we had Bob Sutton from New York, and he brought Rex Ryan's defense over. And that's tailored to guys like me, right? So you got, up front, like these big run-stopping, maybe not the most athletic guys in the world.
just fill the hole. Fill the hole and take a half of another one.
Run through there.
Exactly.
Don't let you run through. Take on that double team, which is great. But what you saw is as the personnel changed in Kansas City, that defense didn't fit anymore, right?
Yeah.
You don't want Chris Jones on the line of scrimmage worrying about taking on a double team or a scoop block. Who cares about that for him? He's so explosive. He's such a talent. Just send him 100 miles an hour upfield, right? And that's the same thing with Frank Clark and those guys. And so that's what's the beauty of Spags' defense is it's really play the run on the way to the quarterback.
Yeah. Nice.
And you've got these guys that are just incredible at it. And so, you talk about, well, maybe some weakness in the secondary, but it's hard to throw the ball when you've got Frank Clark and Chris Jones and all those guys collapsing the pocket and giving you a second to get rid of it. And so that's really sort of the level of optimism there. And then you see what they've done to bring 95 out now and have him play end, too. Yeah. That's a big boy out there in space, and the way he can move and use his leverage and his speed and his agility. I mean, so that's why I didn't even bring it up, because I'm not too worried about the defense, just because, the way they can get after the quarterback up front, I think is just, is second to none.
Yeah. And listen, Mike, by the way, that advantage is amplified by the fact that the Chiefs are generally up multiple scores, which forces the opponent to become very one-dimensional and abandon the run. Then you just bring the horses. It's easier.
Oh, that's exactly what I was going to just say. That's exactly right. When you're playing, you think of it from from the other team's perspective coming in to play Kansas City. They're probably not thinking, "Hey, we're going to run the ball 45 times this game," right? I mean, everybody's going to be giving you their best shot, which means they're going downfield because they have to score because Kansas City's scoring, and so it's crazy when you have a guy like Pat Mahomes to worry about the run at all. Make that become a factor. Let them prove that can be a factor. But until then, you tell those guys, you get after it. Get after the quarterback, and that's what Spags does, and that's a fun defense to watch. I'm disappointed because I never could have played in it. So I get that. I'm a little jealous. Like, man, I wish I had that kind of talent.
I got you.
Fun to watch as a fan.
Pin him back and go get him. Listen, Mike, we got to bounce. We're up against a hard break here, but the one-on-one podcast with the Kansas City Sports Network. It's Mike Devito, played for the Jets, but we all believe, and why wouldn't you enjoy your time with the Chiefs more than you did with the Jets? So good stuff, Mike. Looking forward to this high-octane machine every week and watching the boys do what they do. Thank you very much, Mike.
Hey, Brandon, Tiki, thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
Be good, Mike.
You got it, man. There he is.
Thanks for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe, and don't forget to hit that bell to be notified when we drop fresh content.